buddy. Eyes up here.
Looks like David Corenswet is going for that Christopher Reeve charm as Superman, one of a few new summer movies I'll be reviewing this week on CJ at the Movies. I'm Christopher Zweig. Let's take a look. This is James Gunn's take, now starring David Corenswet as the Man of Steel, who finds himself in the middle of a crisis, courtesy of his archenemy Lex Luthor, played by Nicholas Hoult.
Superman. He's not a man. He's an it. He's somehow become the focal point of the entire world's conversation. I will not accept that.
We all know that Superman's human name is Clark Kent, and he works at the Daily Planet, where he dates the reporter Lois Lane, played by Rachel Brosnahan. She already knows he's Superman and conducts an interview with him.
Recently, you've come under a lot of fire for what some
might...
It's a lot. In effect, you illegally entered a country.
This is how you're gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman. I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die!
There's too much going on in the Superman to be as perfect as the Christopher Reeve classic in 1978, like how we get a dimension known as the Pocket Universe and other superheroes like Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern and Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl, among others. But there are moments worth checking out. I like how Luthor's plan threatens to make Superman look bad, the performances from Corenswet, Brosnahan, and Hoult, and I like the art direction of the film. Gunn adds a lot of eye candy and a campy attitude, but he also makes the movie popcorn entertainment. I trust his judgment more than the dinosaurs on last week's show. Our next movie is Jaws at 50, the definitive inside story, which premieres on National Geographic and celebrates the 50th anniversary of Steven Spielberg's classic shark movie Jaws.
When the film wrapped, I had a full-blown panic attack. But the success was fantastic.
It talks about the influence on filmmakers and actors, the experience for Spielberg, how the special effects had their conflicts, the filming location of Martha's Vineyard, and the famous Jaws bridge that has a no jumping sign, but people jump anyway. I know I did.
It supercharged the language of cinema.
There have been movies made since using CG sharks that aren't nearly as good.
I'm sure many of us fans would have loved for Jaws at 50 to go deeper into the filming process and how Spielberg was affected during it, and there are some stories that aren't as interesting as the major subjects, but it does explain enough to qualify it as an entertaining doc, and Spielberg considering Jaws to be a sequel to one of his earlier films, Duel, reminds me on the examination made in Lynch Oz, which was about how even the tiniest details from The Wizard of Oz can influence a movie. Next up, Sovereign, which takes place before the West Memphis police shootings in 2010. Its suspects were a father and son who were sovereign citizens. That means they were anti-government extremists who don't believe in driver's license or mortgage payments, and they're played wisely by Nick Offerman and Jacob Tremblay, who were just seen in The Life of Chuck.
They demand that you beg. They're sick like that. You know, they're psychotic, psychopaths.
I mean, I don't want to have to kill anybody. But if they keep messing with me, then I'm afraid that's what it's going to come down to. And if I have to kill one, then I'm not going to be able to stop. I just know it.
On the side, and this is minor for a while, we get another father-son story, this one regarding Dennis Quaid as the chief of police and Thomas Mann as his cop son. They would eventually become involved with the sovereign citizens, unfortunately.
This is an illegal stop.
Sir, get back in the car.
What law did I break?
Get back in the
Tell me
car
what
right
law
now.
I broke and I'll comply.
Sir?
I'm not saying Sovereign is an easy film to watch, because it isn't, but the acting is real and provocative. Its dramatization represents these kinds of people in society, how they would react towards the police, the judge, etc., and there are a number of bad choices presented here based on the beliefs that the main father and son follow, and Offerman and Tremblay both deliver with the right intensity. And in certain aspects, I was reminded a little of movies like A Perfect World or Hell or High Water. And our last movie is Shari Lamb Chop, a documentary on the late female ventriloquist Shari Lewis, who gave us such memorable puppets like Lamb Chop, Charlie Horse, and Hush Puppy. She was before we got Fred Rogers and Sesame Street. This doc talks about a lot of things, like her father, Abraham Hurwitz, who was a famous magician with the nickname Peter Pan the Magic Man, and inspired her to pursue a career in puppetry.
You can't be the president. Why not? You're a girl.
As a kid, if you saw Shari Lewis on TV, you fell in love.
It was so clear. I had found myself with Lamb Chop.
It also talks about her canceled show, The Shari Lewis Show, and her comeback series, Lamb Chop's Play Along, and we see her vulnerable side through it all.
But there was a time when people didn't want Shari Lewis.
When my show was canceled, it was the only time I ever went to Lamb Chop and cried with her.
Those years where she did not have a show, I think that was a very lonely, horrible time for her. She did whatever came up to rebuild her career. It was in her DNA.
Shari in Lamb Chop is as funny and sweet as the ventriloquist herself, and directed by Lisa De Ippolito, who also made Love Gilda, it also shows us the pathos in such a happy woman's life. and while it's not as passionate as the Mr. Rogers doc Won't You Be My Neighbor, it still wins you over with its examination on Shari and her puppet friends. I watched a few of Lamb Chop's play-along videos when I was little, and I'm glad this doc reminded me of the closing song, The Song That Never Ends. It opens in select theaters next week, and I say it's a watch. Recapping this week's new movies: thumbs up for Superman, thumbs up for Jaws at 50, thumbs up for Sovereign, and thumbs up for Shari and Lamb Chop. Well, those are the new movies I'm reviewing this week. I'm Christopher Zweig. Stay safe, and I'll see you at the movies.